Welcome to the Echo Driving School channel. This test that I'm going to be talking about is one of my students who unfortunately was unsuccessful today, which is the 16th of March 2017. The route is not new, but it's not one that I have recorded myself. So I thought it would be a good idea just to do a commentary on her drive. To be honest, her drive on the whole was a very good drive, considering the route was a fairly challenging route. She failed for something very silly, as you will see and agree as the video progresses. So to start off with, the examiner asked her to do a bay parking. So she's gone 2 bays past her bay, aligned herself up, her shoulders with the line, and foot locked it right. Now you'll notice when she does it that she does need to do a shunt forward. Now this sometimes it varies from car to car. The car that I have is a Toyota Yaris, and its turning circle it's not the greatest in the world. So sometime if you don't steer in time, you might need a shunt forward. So the test center was fairly empty at the time of her reverse into a bay. So she, is looking around her to make sure there's no pedestrian or any examiners coming out, waiting, and she's looking around. And at this point, she realizes that it's not going to go inside the bay, so obviously decides to shunt forward and then put it back into reverse. And she does manage to get inside the actual bay. Now I know from experience that if you do shunt forward, the examiners usually mark you down with one minor driving fault. Although in my opinion, I think, if you have to go forward, it shouldn't be a minor fault of any kind. But, it is as it is, so you will get a minor fault if you do shunt forward. So as she gets it in, the examiner is happy with the progress and then says to her, to move on when it's safe to do so. So we're just going to let this pass, and I'm just going to wait until she starts to maneuver and goes in there, because there's a little bit of a pause here. So she's given a signal, as I teach all of the students, to position themselves as near as possible towards the fence. And as I've said in previous videos, it's a 10 miles an hour within the test center, and as you come out, you are expected to make progress. As she comes out the test center, there's not many cars today. I mean, it was a lovely weather, nice and sunny, so the road was fairly clear. Now she's making progress towards the end of the road, where her examiner asked her to turn right. Now, as I've mentioned before, as you're going at the end of the road, there will be parked cars, so make sure you're looking in your mirrors, and both of the mirrors for out and in, and then coming towards the end. From what I've noticed, she decides to wait here. The right signal is on, and she's waiting for the relevant cars to give her way. She just tried to go there, and there was a car coming, so she held back, which was the right thing to do, until both sides became clear. So as both sides becomes clear, she decides to move halfway, have a look at the left side, and then obviously make progress. Just a point to notice that you've got to make sure that you make progress. As I've said before, many have failed for going too slow. So if it's a 30-mile road, then you've got to make sure, if it's safe to do so, you are traveling at 30 miles. So as she's coming out here, obviously she's looking out for other learners, other cars, pedestrian crossing which is coming up ahead. Now this route that she is going to do is going to be towards the Wadden Gatwick sign posted on the Lombard roundabout. Now anybody who doesn't know what exit that is, it is the 4th exit signposted Wadden and Gatwick. Just as a landmark as well, it is the exit that goes towards the Matalan, the Mercedes car showroom, the home base, so all of those kind of areas that people who live in the area will be familiar with. So a few pedestrians and cars trying to come out, and she's making good progress. You can see from the actual video her speeds, not 30, but there are cars in front. So she's doing 22 to 23, which is a good speed considering there's cars ahead of us, and she wasn't marked down because of her speed in any way. So we're just letting the video run, until she gets up to the until she gets up to the Lombard roundabout. So if you want to pause and look at the sign, you can pause here and you can just about see it. Wadden Gatwick is on your right hand side. So when you approach this exit, remember you've got to check your mirrors, give a right signal, position yourself on the right hand lane, and wait for a gap or an opening to come. So she's obviously waited until she's going to see a gap. Now it's a fairly easy, straightforward one. When you see a gap, accelerate and enter there. Make sure you maintain your right hand lane all the way until you go past the 3rd exit. So just about here, she would have checked her left mirror, given a left signal. You do cut across because you're going into your lane, and you make progress. Now this section of the road is an unmarked 2 lanes, so there's no road marking, but the road is wide enough, so make sure that you position your car about 1 meter from the curb, and watch out your right mirror just in case there are any vehicles who would want to overtake you. On the left there's a no entry, so be careful, there could be cars coming out from there. Now the exit that the examiner asked her to turn is just coming up. It's just opposite the Mercedes garage, so it's a left turn coming up. So center left mirror. If it's safe to do so, you take your turn. Now as you do this turn, remember one thing, that it's usually 20 miles. You can see on the floor it's 20 miles an hour, and you've got to follow the road towards your right and not ahead. So it's just follow the road towards your right. There's a fair amount of meeting that one does over here. The examiner asked her to pull up on the left, so she's looking for a safe place to pull up. And remember, you cannot mount the curb to pull up. Although cars are parked on the curb, the examiner just wants you to pull up in a safe position without mounting the curb. So he's just asked her to pull up here, coming up, and then she goes ahead, checks her mirrors, and pulls up when it's safe for her to do so. You'll obviously notice from previous videos, and if anybody's taken the test, then pulling up is something very common in the test, and a fair amount of time you will be asked to do that, to pull in and to pull out. And not forgetting your blind spot. It's very important to look over your right shoulder, to look out for any cyclist, motorcyclist, give a signal, and move out when it's safe to do so. So again, this is where it's the back of the whole IKEA and everything like that. It's on the other side, and as you go ahead here, you're going from a 20 mile an hour to a 30 mile an hour road. Now it's important to note that it is a 30-mile-an-hour road where you go through these two pillars. So it's a narrow road ahead, and you make progress as you go here. It's not obviously always necessary to do 30 on a road like here where traffic is very thick, so you need to pick and obviously work out when it's safe to do that. Now, unfortunately, you'll see ahead, this is where the student makes a serious fault. It was a silly fault to make, and unfortunately in the exam you only have one time to make your choices, and if you make a bad choice, then obviously you will end up failing. So what the student has done is, this vehicle, clearly you can tell that the vehicle is stopped, but she mistakes and thinks that the vehicle is parked and decides to overtake. And as soon as she overtakes, she realizes that the vehicle was actually stopped because of traffic. And obviously by this time it's too late. She gives a left signal and she gets back in. Luckily they allow her, but this has cost her her test. So again, remember here that do not overtake vehicles. If you think a vehicle is parked, first of all, look at their brake lights, see if they have got any kind of a signal. Pause there and give it a few seconds just to analyze the situation. If it is not clear, then look out for other traffic. Are they going? Are they stopping? You've got to be able to judge this, and just don't straight away go for it. And unfortunately, this was the section. This was the only major fault that she did. So that's why obviously I wanted to talk about it. So again, as I said, this route, it follows round through the flyover, but instead of going over it, this is the route that goes under it. And the examiner takes the few roads, few side roads that are going to be coming up. And then what they do is they go through the back of where West Croydon is, and then they cut through there, coming back on themselves onto the roundabout. So like my previous videos, I'm just going to let these bits run where it's just a standard, taking junctions left and right. So do go through the route, so you can practice the route. Again, these roads are not really that narrow. There's a fair amount of space to pull up, but again, just make sure that you are aware of your surrounding before you pull in. So I'm just going to stop the commentary for now, and then I'll come back in when they come on the roundabout again and talk about the specific roundabouts and so forth. Okay, thank you. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the little background music. So as I said, I'll come back when she starts the roundabout again. So the examiner did the independent driving here, where she was asked to follow the signs for Mitcham. Now the sign for Mitcham from this angle is the second exit. This is a fairly challenging exit because you've got two exits on the right which you have to give way to, so you need to be quite quick with this. Obviously it's the Lombard roundabout, so when you see a gap on the right that's blocking your first right, maybe they're going off towards Croydon, you need to make sure that you go straight away there when it's safe to do so. So yeah, she did take the correct time because the car on the right was blocking the other side, and that gave her a little opening for that. So what the examiner, once she turned, the examiner asked her to take the first left. Now if you watch Hassan's test, you'll find that this bit I have spoken in detailed, so I'm not going to go through the same thing again. So it's a one-way road. This is where they usually do the emergency stop, so it's a good idea to practice on these roads. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. As I said again in the beginning, it was really sad that she just, she made one fault, one serious fault, and ended up failing. So obviously, to reiterate what she did, if you see a vehicle in front of you that you're not sure whether it's stopped or parked, give it a few seconds, analyze the situation, look out for brake lights, look out for other surroundings that will give you clue whether the vehicle is parked or not. And when you're 100% sure, then do commit to overtake. The problem here was obviously she just overtook on the first instance without actually giving it a few seconds to analyze the situation. So yeah, unlucky, but hopefully you guys who are looking at the video can at least benefit from her error and not make the same error. So again, best of luck for everybody going for the test. Keep up the good comments and the feedback, and hopefully I'll have another video up here soon. Thank you again.